Lee Marvin truly hated him more than anyone. They say every gunslinger has one bullet left, one name on a list, one score to settle before the sun sets. Lee Marvin had 6. August 29, 1987, Tucson, Arizona. A man is dying. Not from bullets, not from bar fights, from time and from secrets that ate him alive for 50 years. Lee Marvin, the man who made violence look like poetry. The man whose eyes could freeze blood. The last real tough guy in a town full of pretenders. For 5 decades, he played killers, soldiers, and outlaws, but his greatest performance, playing nice with men he despised. 3 days before his death, propped up in a hospital bed, tubes in his arms, morphine in his veins, he called for a tape recorder. His son rushed in, thinking it was final words for the family. It wasn't. "Turn it on," Lee rasped, his voice like gravel in a blender. "I got names to name." What followed was 2 hours of confession. Raw, unfiltered, brutal. The kind of truth Hollywood buries deeper than its scandals. He named 6 men, 6 Hollywood legends, 6 betrayals that turned his heart to stone. But one name he saved for last, said it 3 times like a curse, then laughed bitter and hollow and said, "That son of a, I hated him more than the Germans who shot me. At least they were honest about wanting me dead." The tape was supposed to be destroyed. The family lawyer said it was too dangerous. But Lee's grandson kept a copy hidden for 37 years until now. Because some truths, they don't belong to lawyers or studios. They belong to history. And this is Lee Marvin's history. The real one. The one that starts with a question. What kind of man do you have to be to make Lee Marvin, the toughest bastard in Hollywood, hate you for half a century? Let's find out. The deathbed decision. August 26, 1987. Tucson Medical Center, room 447. The doctor had just left. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. Days, maybe a week, he'd said. Lee didn't flinch, just lit another lucky strike. The nurse protested. He growled, "What's it going to do? Kill me faster?" His son Christopher sat beside him, holding a copy of People magazine. Hollywood's tough guys. Where are they now? Lee was on page 3. They called him retired and reclusive. They said he'd mellowed with age. He grabbed the magazine, tore it in half, then said something his son would never forget. "Get me a tape recorder." "Dad, you should rest." "Get me the goddamn recorder. Alone now." Lee stared at the ceiling. 50 years of keeping his mouth shut. 50 years of smiling at premieres. 50 years of protecting men who destroyed him. A nurse, Maria Gonzalez, was there that night. She later told documentary makers he was talking to himself, names over and over. Wayne, Bronson, McQueen, Eastwood, Mitchum, Coburn, like he was reading a list of the dead. When Christopher returned with the recorder, Lee had written 6 names on his medical chart, his hand shaking, ink smeared. "Dad, what is this?" "My real autobiography." He pressed record, cleared his throat, a sound like grinding gears, and began. "My name is Lee Marvin. I'm 63 years old. I've killed men on screen and off, but I never murdered anyone's reputation. These 6 did, and I'm done protecting them. Let's start with the Duke himself, John Wayne, the biggest fraud in Hollywood history. John Wayne, the paper cowboy. Liberty Valance, 1962. Monument Valley, the place John Ford built his empire of lies. Wayne shows up in a white Cadillac, white hat, white boots, looking like a dentist playing dress-up. I show up on a Greyhound bus, same clothes I'd worn for 3 days because that's what a real drifter would do. On the first day of shooting, Ford introduces us to the crew. "Gentlemen, meet your stars. John Wayne, American hero, and Lee Marvin." Lee Marvin. Everyone laughed. Duke loudest of all. That night at the motel bar, Wayne corners me already drunk. Bourbon breath. That fake tough guy voice. "Listen, Marvin, this is my picture. Ford is my director. You're just here to make me look good." I smiled, raised my beer. "Duke, I don't have to try to make you look good. You already look like a walking advertisement for hair dye." His face went red. Not angry red, embarrassed red, because 3 grips hurt it. And by morning, the whole crew would know. The war started there. The next 2 weeks were hell. Wayne would accidentally step on my marks, block my light, and talk during my takes. But the real betrayal came during the restaurant scene. My big moment, the speech about liberty and law. 6 pages of dialogue I'd worked on for months. The morning of the shoot, Ford calls me in. "Changes," he says, hands me new pages. My 6 pages are now 6 lines. Wayne's reaction shots. Now he gets the speech. "This Duke's idea?" I asked. Ford doesn't answer, but his eyes do. I found Wayne in makeup. Told the artist to leave. Locked the door. "You want my lines, Duke? It's better for the picture. Let me tell you something about pictures. Marion." "Yeah." I called him Marion. His real name. Marion Morrison. I've got shrapnel in my ass from Saipan, a Purple Heart from Iwo Jima. You've got makeup and a stunt double, so when you steal my scenes, just remember who earned them. He stood up all 6'4" of padding and lifts. You threatening me, Marvin? No, Marion. I'm promising you one day when the cameras are gone and it's just you and that mirror, you'll know what you really are. A coward in a costume. Production shut down for 3 hours. Ford had to separate us. Wayne demanded I be fired. Ford refused, not from loyalty, but because I was too expensive to replace. From that day, we didn't speak, not one word. Even in scenes together, we'd say our lines to the air. The editors had to cut around our hatred. The Hollywood Reporter, April 1962. Chemistry between Wayne and Marvin elevates Liberty Valance. Chemistry. We wanted to kill each other. Years later, 1974, Wayne received his Lifetime Achievement Award. They asked me to present. I sent back 3 words. I'd rather not. The organizer was confused, but Mr. Marvin Duke specifically requested you. That's when I knew the son of a wanted me there to watch him win, to make me applaud, to prove he'd won our war. I didn't go, but I watched it on TV. When he gave his speech, he thanked his fellow actors, then looked directly at the camera and said, "Even the difficult ones taught me something." My wife asked what he meant. I turned off the TV. He meant he learned how to be a better thief. John Wayne died in 1979, stomach cancer. They asked me for a quote. I gave them one. He was exactly what America wanted him to be. They printed it like a compliment. It wasn't because America wanted a lie, and Marion Morrison delivered it every single day of his life. Real cowboys don't die in beds. They die forgotten like I'm about to. But Wayne was just the beginning. The next man, he didn't steal scenes. He stole something worse. He stole trust. Charles Bronson, the stone-faced liar. Charlie Bronson, the man with the stone face, never smiled, never laughed, turned silence into an art form. But silence ain't the same as honor. Sometimes it's just cowardice with good PR. The Dirty Dozen, 1966, Buckinghamshire, England. Aldrich directing. 12 convicts pretending to be soldiers and 1 actual Marine pretending he gave a damn. That Marine was me. The first week, Bronson approached me at craft services. That weird, quiet way he moved like a snake that learned to walk. "Lee," he says, "we should stick together. 2 real tough guys among all these pretty boys." I bought it. Hell, I wanted to buy it. After Wayne, I needed an ally. We'd run lines together, share war stories. His all made up, mine all true. I taught him how to hold a rifle like he'd actually fired one. He taught me how to be stupid enough to trust him. Then the accident started. Take 12. Bronson steps in front of me. Take 18. He coughs during my monologue. Take 23. His elbow finds my jaw during a fight scene. The assistant director pulled me aside. Lee Charlie says, "You're drinking again." I hadn't touched a drop in 6 months, but Bronson had been telling everyone I was. Even staged a scene where he helped me to my trailer. I was exhausted from a 16-hour shoot. He made it look like I was wasted. The British press ate it up. Marvin's meltdown, Drunk Dozen, Lee's last stand. I confronted him, found him in his trailer reading his notices, all glowing, all mentioning how professional he was compared to others. Charlie. He doesn't look up. "Charlie, we need to talk about these rumors." Still nothing. Charles, finally those dead eyes rise. "What rumors, Lee?" That's when I knew the stone face wasn't tough. It was empty. No soul behind it. Just ambition wearing a man's suit. I grabbed the nearest bottle, scotch, his scotch, and smashed it against the wall. "You want them to think I'm drunk? Fine. But you're going to wear the evidence." I held the broken neck an inch from his face. First time I ever saw Charlie Bronson feel something. Fear. "You're crazy," he whispered. "No, Charlie, I'm honest. That's why you're scared." The producer, Kenneth Heyman, had to fly in from London. Damage control. They paid off the papers, made me sign an NDA, and gave Bronson a raise. But here's what Hollywood didn't print. 3 crew members came forward later, saying they saw Bronson making calls to gossip columnists, feeding them stories about my problems. One grip, Tommy Morrison, kept a diary. His daughter sent it to me in 1983. August 15th, 1966, Bronson spreading lies about Marvin. Everyone knows, no one says anything. This business is built on cowards. After Dirty Dozen wrapped, I never worked with Bronson again. Turned down 3 films because he was attached. Cost me probably $2 million, worth every penny. He died in 2003, Alzheimer's. Spent his last years not recognizing anyone. Living in silence, the same silence he used as a weapon. There's poetry in that, I guess. The man who said nothing ended with nothing to say and no one to say it to. But Bronson was just a rat. The next man, he was something worse. He was the future, and I was the past he needed to bury. Steve McQueen, the king of cool blood. Steve McQueen, the king of cool. blue eyes that made women forget their own names, and an ego that made me forget why I ever liked him. The Great Escape, 1963, Bavaria. Fake P camp, real barbed wire, and 2 generations of tough guys about to collide. I was 39, he was 33. 6 years difference, might as well have been 6 centuries. The first day he rides up on that Triumph. No helmet, cigarette dangling, that practiced casual thing he did. "You're Lee Marvin," he says, "not a question. You're the reason I became an actor." But that kind of works. Made me feel like a mentor. Made me drop my guard. The first month was good. We'd drink beer, talk bikes. He'd ask about the war. I'd tell him stories I hadn't told anyone. How a sniper's bullet sounds different when it's meant for you. How you can smell death before you see it. How you never really come home. He'd listen, those blue eyes focused, taking it all in. I thought he was learning. He was just not what I thought. Week 6. The Riety magazine arrives on set. Cover story, McQueen, the new American man. Inside a quote, "The old generation of tough guys like Marvin, they're yesterday's news. Audiences want someone they can relate to." I found him doing push-ups, always exercising when he knew people were watching. "Steve, he doesn't stop." 57-58. "Steve, we need to talk." 60-61. I kicked his arms out. He collapsed, rolled over, laughing. "Jesus, Lee, what's your problem?" I threw the magazine at his face. "My problem. Yesterday's news." He stood up, brushed off the dirt. "That smile never leaves. It's just publicity, Lee. The studio makes me say that stuff. The studio makes you call me old." His smile finally faded. "You are old, Lee, and I'm the future. That's not an insult, it's just evolution. I've been hit by shrapnel. Had a Japanese bayonet pierce my foot. But nothing cut deeper than that moment, because he was right. I was old. I was yesterday, and he was tomorrow. The rest of the shoot was torture. He'd do extra takes of his motorcycle jumps, made sure the cameras loved him more, started wearing tighter shirts, doing that squint thing that became his trademark. You know what that squint was? Him imitating me the way I'd look at someone before a fight scene. He stole it, packaged it, sold it, and America bought it. Final day of shooting, wrap party. Everyone's drunk except me and him. We're standing outside looking at the Bavarian mountains. No hard feelings, right, Lee? About what? About me being the future? I flicked my cigarette into the dark. "Steve, let me tell you something about the future. It's just the past with better lighting." He laughed. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means one day some younger, prettier version of you is going to show up, and he's going to call you yesterday's news, and you're going to remember this conversation, and you're going to hate him the way I hate you." His jaw tightened. "You hate me?" "No, Steve. I hate what you represent. The death of authenticity, the birth of performance. You don't become a tough guy, you play one. And that's the difference between us." We never spoke again. In 1980, he died of mesothelioma. His public, but McQueen was just ego. The next man, he was a thief, pure and simple. Clint Eastwood, the quiet thief. Clint Eastwood. Squint, spit, shoot. 3 things he learned from watching me. Never paid me a dime in royalties. Paint your wagon. 1969, Oregon mountains. 2 cowboys who can't sing in a musical nobody wanted except Clint wanted it bad. Wanted to prove he was more than the man with no name. I wanted to show range, wanted to be me. The first day he approaches during lunch, that careful walk he did like he was always entering a gunfight. "Mr. Marvin, it's Lee." "Kid Lee, I've studied everything you've done. Studied, not watched, not enjoyed. Studied like I was a textbook. I will break down your performances. The way you lower your voice before violence. The way you use stillness as a weapon. The 3-second pause before you speak." He had it timed. 3 seconds. The kid had actually counted. I should have known then. When someone studies you that close, they're either going to worship you or replace you. Clint did both. Week 3 of shooting. I noticed something strange. Clint's wearing my boots, not similar ones. Mine taken from my trailer. "Nice boots, Clint." "Thanks. Found them lying around. They look broken in." "Yeah, perfect fit too." He smiled. I let it go. They were just boots. But then it got worse. He started standing like me, that slight lean to the right from where shrapnel tore through my hip at Saipan. He copied a war wound he never earned. Started speaking like me, that gravel in the throat from screaming orders over artillery. He copied trauma he never lived. The director Joshua Logan pulled me aside. "Lee, we have a problem. You and Clint are too similar. Audiences will be confused. Tell Clint to stop copying me. Actually, the studio thinks you should differentiate more." Differentiate from myself. They think Clint's version is more accessible. 85, accessible. That's Hollywood for younger people. That night, I found Clint practicing in his trailer in front of a mirror doing my voice, my walk. Even that thing I did with my jaw when angry. Learning anything interesting? He didn't even look embarrassed, just turned, smiled, and said, "You can't copyright a personality, Lee. No, but you can copyright a soul, and you're stealing mine." He tilted his head. That thing he started doing in all his movies. Guess where he got it? I'm not stealing, Lee. I'm evolving it, making it better, cleaner, less damaged, more heroic. I laughed, not a happy laugh, the kind that comes from understanding. Clint, let me explain something. The damage is the heroism. The scars are the character. You're not evolving anything, you're gentrifying it. Taking the pain out and keeping the pose. He stood up. We were eye to eye. His eyes were clear, young, unscarred. Mine were mine. Maybe that's what people want, Lee. The pose without the pain. He was right. That's exactly what they wanted. And he gave it to them for 50 years. 1971, Dirty Harry comes out. That role was offered to me first. I turned it down. Too clean, too simple. A good guy with a gun saves the day. Clint took it, made it iconic, made that voice I created famous, that stance I earned legendary. And nobody knew he was doing an impression of me. The last time I saw him was in 1985, some awards thing. He'd won another something for another Western. He walked over, extended his hand. "Lee, good to see you." I looked at his hand. Clean, unmarked, soft, then at mine. Scarred, bent, real. "Clint, I owe you a lot, Lee." "Yes, you do." He waited for more. There wasn't more. What do you say to a man who stole your shadow and made it worth millions? He's still alive, 90s something. Still making movies, still doing that voice, still 3 seconds before speaking. Meanwhile, I'm dying in Tucson. And nobody remembers the original. That's Hollywood's greatest trick, making copies more valuable than originals. But Clint was just business. The next man, he was personal. James Coburn, the Judas Kiss. James Coburn, the last name, the worst name. The one that proved Hollywood doesn't make friends, it makes future enemies. We met in 1960, the Magnificent Seven, Mexico. 7 guys pretending to be killers. Except I didn't have to pretend. Coburn was nobody then. Tall, lanky. That grin that looked like trouble reminded me of myself before the war. Before I learned what bullets really do. I liked him. God help me, I actually liked him. He came to me for everything. "Lee, how do I hold a gun? Lee, how do I make them believe I'm dangerous? Lee, how do I stop shaking during action scenes?" I taught him everything. Even things I shouldn't have. Like the trick with your eyes before you draw. You don't look at your target. You look through them like they're already dead. Makes the audience feel it before the gun fires. Coburn practiced that for hours in the mirror, at meals, during poker games. Am I getting it, Lee? You're getting it, Jim. We became close, drank together. His wife and mine had dinner. I was the best man at his second wedding. He called me brother. I believed him. That was my mistake. 1962. The Great Escape started casting. Big ensemble, big budget, big opportunity. Coburn wanted it badly. Put in a word for me, Lee. Jim, I don't have that pull. You do. Sturgis loves you. So I did. Called John Sturgis. Vouched for Coburn. Said he was reliable, professional, and talented. Sturgis hired him. Based on my words. 2 weeks later, I got a call. Not for The Great Escape, for a Western. Smaller, less money, but good script. Sorry, Lee. The producer says we went another direction. What direction? Younger. Found out later who got the part. James Coburn, the role I'd recommended him for. He turned it down, took mine instead. I called him. Jim, what the hell? Lee, it's business. I got you that job. And I'm grateful, but this role fits me better. The role written for me fits you better. Yeah, it does. That's when I learned something. Gratitude in Hollywood has an expiration date, usually about 2 weeks. But it got worse. Hell is for Heroes, 1962. We're both cast. I'm the lead. He's supported. Should have been simple. But Coburn had been talking to the director, suggesting improvements. All of them involved cutting my scenes and expanding his. Day 12 of shooting. Big action sequence. Coburn was supposed to stay back. Instead, he runs forward right into my shot. Ruins the take. Cut. The director's furious. Jim, what are you doing? I thought it would be more dynamic. It's not your scene. Coburn looks at me, shrugs, grins. Sorry, brother. That night I went to his room. Didn't knock, just walked in. He was on the phone with his agent. Yeah, I think I can get Marvin pushed out. He saw me, hung up. Lee, outside now. We stood in the Mexican desert, full moon. Could see every line on his face, every lie he'd ever told. You want my career, Jim? I want my own career built on my back. He stepped forward. You're paranoid. I'm accurate. Then he said it. The thing that ended everything. Lee, you're old news. What's next? You can either help me or get run over. I hit him once. Clean right cross. Broke 2 of his teeth. He went down. Stayed down. Blood in the sand. You want what's next, Jim? There it is. The future's bleeding. I walked away, left him there, and never spoke to him again. The studio found me. The press had a field day. Marvin's meltdown. Star's violent outburst. Nobody printed what he'd said. Nobody mentioned the betrayal. Just another crazy Lee Marvin story. Coburn went on to make millions, won an Oscar, became everything he'd wanted. Me, I became careful. Never trusted another actor. Never called anyone a brother. Never taught anyone anything. He didn't just steal from me, he stole me from everyone else. Made me the bitter old man Hollywood said I was. And now I'm dying, and he's probably at some premiere. Smiling that smile, playing the star, living my life. That's the list. 6 names, 50 years. One question, was it worth it? Keeping quiet, playing nice, protecting them? No, it wasn't. Because silence doesn't make you noble. It makes you complicit. And I'm done being complicit. The truth. The truth is all I have left. And now you have it too. Music epilogue. After the tape stopped, Lee Marvin died 3 days later, August 29th, 1987. His last word wasn't a name. It was finally over. The funeral was small. Family, few friends, no Hollywood stars. None of the 6 men attended. John Wayne had died 8 years earlier, but the others were alive. They all said flowers, no notes. The tape sat in a safety deposit box for 37 years until Lee's grandson, Matthew, turned 40. The same age Lee was when he learned Hollywood doesn't make heroes, it makes survivors. And survivors have stories. This was Lee's. They say every gunslinger dies alone. Lee Marvin proved them right. But alone doesn't mean forgotten. And forgetting doesn't mean wrong. 6 names, 6 betrayals, 1 truth. In Hollywood, the good guys don't win. They just get better at pretending. Lee Marvin never pretended. That's why he lost. And that's why we remember. The tape ends here, but the questions don't. Who betrayed him the worst? Who deserved forgiveness? Who was Lee Marvin really? A bitter old man, a truth teller, or just another casualty in Hollywood's endless war between image and reality? You decide, because in the end, that's all any of us can do. Look at the evidence, listen to the silence, and decide what's true. Lee Marvin made his decision. Now make yours.